I've only got a couple hours here, so this won't be a terribly long stream, but I want to try to chip into the Moonlord's HP a bit more. At most, I'll only be doing this for about 2 hours this stream. But 2 hours could potentially be like 5,000, 6,000 damage, so I think it's more than worth it. Hey, Philip. Hey, Jay Crazy. This is so sad. Why is it sad? Lawnmower for hours upon hours? Why is that sad? Do you come from a family of grasses? The grinding and sound of getting hit by the torso man? I don't really grind up against the torso man very much. Well, we're only on part 25. That's not too much. Thank you, Philip. Trust me, I want to be done with this as much as you want me to be done with it. But I have decided to finish it, and finish it I am going to. A lot of stress in the past couple hours because... So my grandparents are coming over for dinner and getting a pizza. And we're all splitting one pizza. And I'm not good at that. Because the overlap of pizzas that we all like is very thin. I don't really like vegetable pizzas. I don't like the texture that vegetables add to pizzas, that crunchiness, I don't like it. And I don't like Hawaiian pizza. I don't like sausage. And apparently they don't like cheese pizza or pepperoni or things that are too greasy. So I think we're going for like a chicken or like a ham pizza or something. Yeah, hey, Recon. Like I said, this is not... The way you found me had cheese every Boston Terraria? Yeah, that was a fun video to make. A lot of time and practice went into that one. Yeah, like I said before, this is not going to be a terribly long stream. Probably somewhere like hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. Just because it is the middle of the day and I gotta eat dinner with my grandparents and not too long. And then tomorrow, I have a laser hair removal appointment in the afternoon. So I might do like a morning stream and a night stream. I'm not too sure. Hey, Cheesy. And yeah, we're back to the Dead Cell soundtrack, by the way. That's what we're listening to right now. I have a what tomorrow? I have a laser hair removal appointment. He demoed to fight Plantera and lasted like 2 minutes before he turned into a pile of flesh by a spiky plant ball. If you have a liquid on the bottom of your arena that's a thick liquid, like lava or honey, you want it to be a couple blocks thick, and you want to use like a water walking potion or terra spark boots or something. They will drastically slow down the speed of the projectile, and they can catch the balls, and that can help a lot. An old strategy that I don't use too much anymore, but I used to do a lot, is make a separate arena next to your original arena. And as soon as she hits phase 2, go in there, and the spiky balls will stay trapped in the first arena. Another thing you can do is use a gravitation potion and sit on the ceiling. And depending on how big your arena is, that can make the spiky balls completely avoidable, because the spiky balls will bounce around on the ground, but if gravity is reversed and you're on the ceiling, then the spiky balls won't bounce high enough to hit you. Those are all pretty effective ways of dealing with the spiky balls. You will want to make sure your Plantera arena is, like, not short height-wise, because if it's short, then the spiky balls will be able to bounce to the top anyway. But when I did Plantera in, like, if you line the ceiling with asphalt, that also helps. The ground with asphalt as well, but the speed buff from asphalt can be pretty helpful. I don't know, if you go watch when I killed her, like in hardcore legendary mode, I think I had used a grav potion on the ceiling, and it also used asphalt. I think that's a pretty good example of, like, how you can dodge around Plantera well. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Waffle Time strategy. Like I said, I don't really watch other people's YouTube stuff much. I think it's something related to just, like, a tunnel that you run in. But I think that, like Philip said, also works pretty well. Yeah, teleporters can work fine. Plantera is female, though, not male. Yeah, teleporting on either side of Plantera. The one thing you have to be potentially concerned about is her hook. If she happens to latch it on to the teleporter where you're standing, can be problematic. Especially if you're on expert mode and she has the grippy feelers that spawn from the hooks. But generally, teleporters are fairly consistent. How do I know? I mean, I've experimented with teleporters when I was making the Cheese All Bosses videos, and I found teleporters to not be quite consistent enough for what I liked. Oh, you mean Plantera. He might identify as a male. No, Plantera's female. Like, plenty of bosses have non-confirmed genders. In fact, almost no bosses have a confirmed gender. Plantera is one of the few that is, without a doubt, gendered and female. That, wouldn't be relevant regardless. Philip? Is Steel Clubs female? Is that, like... Like, I've heard that passed around Recoin, but I don't know whether or not that's actually, like, valid. Because I don't recall... I've never seen an official source stating that in Don't Starve. I've only heard people saying it as, like, headcanon. She might not have a gender. No, Plantera is female. I wouldn't be surprised if, hold on. Can I do this? Oh, okay, no, it doesn't gender Plantera in the bestiary. Is she coded as female? The devs have confirmed that Plantera is female. There's not any ambiguity, though. Plantera female because lore says so, or because plant biology? Plantera is female because the developers have confirmed that she is female. Consistently. For many years. Queen Bee and Queen Slime are more than likely female as well. Just by reasonable assumption. Skeletron, with how the old man refers to him as master, and not like mistress, I think it's probably a reasonable estimation that Skeletron would also be male. King Slime being the counterpart to Queen Slime being male, yeah. The Moonlord and Duke Fishron use masculine titles. That is, it's not the Moon Lady and Duchess Fishron. What about the Dungeon Guardian? 1, the Dungeon Guardian is not a boss. 2, we have no information on it. It's a giant floating skull. Yeah, realistically, we know nothing about the Moonlord's species. That's likely not even, like, the Moonlord's name. Like, I'm fairly certain the Moonlord doesn't go around calling himself Moonlord. It's some sort of eldritch abomination from beyond the stars. I'm not sure it's going to adhere to earthly concepts of gender and biology and sex. So I would consider the Moonlord to be a wash by virtue of that. Thought the Moonlord's name was Steve. It's a joke, regarding the Moonlord. I forget the origins and exact nature of it, but... Dungeon Guardian easily female? Why? Moonlord's legs. That is a joke and an item that only exists in a joke seed. She's a floating head. So? What does that have to do with anything? Rule 34 out. Rule 63 exists. I don't get it? No, I'm asking you to explain it. I think this is Promenade of the Condemned. Or... Wait, no, this is the castle, isn't it? Or the ramparts? Hold on. Clock Tower. I got them all wrong. Okay, this is Clock Tower. I'm not good with recognizing the area themes, apparently. You'll probably get kicked. If you're going to make a sexist joke, consider not making it. Seeing as, all you need to do to make a fool of yourself is just open your mouth. Yeah, this is the Clock Tower theme. You can hear it here with the ticking clock noise. That's the giveaway. Also, if you think guys can't give head, I got some bad news for you. If that was what you were gonna say. Clock Tower equals worst area for its stage of the game. Why can you not see the message you're reading? Are you in live chat, Rel? YouTube has the annoying live chat, top chat thing. I disagree. I would much rather be in Clock Tower than be in fucking, this Forgotten Sepulchre. I don't like Forgotten Sepulchre at all. Might be me, but you think I sound very intimidating? I don't know what to say about that. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I tend to have a very commanding voice and be assertive. What's Clock Tower? It is a region in Dead Cells. One of the late game regions. Not the last region, but going by standard progression in non-boss cell 5 would be the second to last region. There's like no scrolls? Really? I never really noticed that when I was in Clock Tower. I always felt like I got a good amount of scrolls. I guess I never really paid that much attention, but compared to the other areas. Do different areas have different scroll amounts? Is that a thing? I'm not very familiar with the intricacies of Dead Cells, especially Shores and Cavern. Okay. Shores, I do understand. I do like Shores a lot. And Cavern, yes. I was comparing it to Forgotten Sepulchre, though. Especially because I feel like Forgotten Sepulchre discourages me from actually exploring. And Sepulchre also has those annoying-ass fat mummies. So I feel like whenever I'm in Sepulchre, I end up just, like, trying to get out of there as soon as possible. And never really explore thoroughly. So I never end up getting many scrolls. Yeah, those fat mummies suck. The only reason well, it's not really a thing anymore, but when I was doing up to Boss Cell 5, I never really went to Shores or, Cavern. Aside from when I had to go through Cavern to get to Boss Cell 5, and get the Boss Cell. Just because I felt like those regions were a lot more difficult, and, Or not the regions were a lot more difficult. The bosses were a lot more difficult. And given that I was trying to beat Boss Cell 5, I was essentially taking the path of least resistance, which I felt to be Clock Tower. In my opinion, what's the hardest boss in gaming history? I don't know. I mean, bosses aren't really comparable between games, and if you factor in, like, modded bosses and things like that, I don't think there's really a good answer. Because trying to compare between games is really, really difficult. I haven't played Toho, so I don't know that boss. Hey, Quoxy. What's the most fun Terraria boss / event? Do I, like, study Terraria? No. Most fun boss, I guess, would probably be, like, the Empress of Light, I guess. I don't know. And then event, before 1.4.4, multiplayer Pumpkin Moon, I felt like was quite fun. I really enjoyed multiplayer Pumpkin Moon before 1.4.4, and then I think they kind of ruined it in 1.4.4 by adding HP scaling, which made it considerably less fun, in my opinion. Oh no, I don't like Motion Madness at all. So post 1.4.4, I don't really like any of the events. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't really view the event as something as, like, I find fun. It's more just like, oh, okay, I'll do the event and then get something out of it. Fuck pirates. And I usually avoid Motion Madness like the plague during most challenges. Lunar events are also just really tedious. The moons, I just don't really like that much. Yes, Old Ones Army, but I don't even like the Old Ones Army that much. But, like, by process of elimination, you know, multiplayer Old Ones Army can be pretty fun. You love the lunar events? I mean, you're welcome to like whatever you like, but you asked what I like. And the answer is I don't really like any of them. Fuck it. Frost Legion. I like Frost Legion. Frost Legion is the only event, the only invasion that doesn't get forced upon you, and therefore, it's the best invasion. I should play Toho? I don't want to. Got Frost Legion existed? Everybody does. But Frost Legion is the only invasion that doesn't get forced on you. And to be clear, the moons are not invasions, those are events that you summon. But Goblin Invasion, Pirate Invasion, Motion Invasion, they're all annoying because you don't get to choose when they happen. They just happen. And they're just annoying things you have to deal with. Whereas Frost Legion, you're only ever going to fight the Frost Legion when you want to fight the Frost Legion. So, like, as far as invasions go, I think it wins on that front. Queen's theme? I fought the Queen, like, once. Frost Legion is the only invasion without its own song. Motion Madness requires a probe. Yeah, and I've been with enough dumbasses in multiplayer that summon motion invasions when we're in the middle of trying to do something else. And you have to spend, like, 10 or 15 minutes dealing with motions. He's not intimidating, like I would be afraid to talk to you IRL, because I feel like I might just annoy you. I don't really know what to say about that. Hit the Goblin Army so much free hug mode, you thought. There's something like 6 in free hug mode. You hate it so much. Yeah, those invasions get really annoying. I don't know what to tell you about sounding intimidating. I mean, I feel like that's mostly an interpretation that you have based on how I talk, and like I don't really know what to say about that. I tend to be assertive with opinions, particularly when dealing with a lot of people in chat, just because it's easier to do that. I more or less just pick a random cadence and tone to talk with. My favorite flavor of Doritos? I don't really like Doritos. I guess nacho cheese? I don't really eat Doritos very much, though. But my favorite accessory? Strong Insignia. The one you get from the Empress of Light in Expert Mode that gives you infinite flight. To be fair, how would you know that I sound intimidating and that you'd be afraid to talk to me IRL unless you had already talked to me and I don't know. But yeah, Strong Insignia aside, I like the bundle of balloons quite a lot. I also have social anxiety. That makes sense. What am I using to play the music? I have a YouTube playlist open, and it is playing the Dead Cells soundtrack. How many hours have I spent trying to beat Moonlord? Like with the Lawnmower? 50-something. Maybe like 57. In total? Probably like 150, 200, something like that. I don't know. I haven't kept count. Do you have a Hollow Knight playlist? I could get one, but... I've gone through several different video games soundtracks and OSTs, and I found Rainworld and Dead Cells to be the most enjoyable ones to just vibe to. You know, I've put on the Hollow Knight soundtrack a few times, and it's just... I don't know, it's not quite the same to vibe to. Try Pizza Tower? No. The soundtrack? I mean, I played Pizza Tower. I remember the soundtrack. I don't really want to play the soundtrack. Pizza Tower was just headache the game. My least favorite Dead Cells enemy? Um... Those fuckers in the astronomy tower that, like, sit on the books and hover above your head. I don't like those guys. I've heard the Halo soundtrack or Doom. No, I mean, I'm not really looking for a different soundtrack. I'm fine with listening to Dead Cells and Rainworld. They're nice soundtracks. Yeah, I don't like those guys. Also, not really a huge fan of those giant, like, purple guys in the morass of the Banished that are in, like, the big open areas. They're pretty easy if you have, like, a parrying shield or something, but I've gotten there a couple times, and they've been annoying to try to fight with the weapons I've had sometimes. Hit the Inquisitors. Which ones are Inquisitors? You know, by Pizza Tower, for some reason you have this thing where if someone game gets moved a bunch, you want to play it less. I didn't like Pizza Tower when I played it. Pizza Tower, had a ton of visual and audio noise, and it just gave me a headache, and the gameplay itself, I really didn't find that compelling. It was just like a speed-focused platformer game. The guy with horns and stuff that shoots through walls. Oh, like the guys in the white robes? Those are Inquisitors? Really? I never really have much issue with them. I just play Rainworld on a dance pad. You don't know if it's hard or easy. Playing Rainworld in the first place or playing it on a dance pad? Honestly, I found Inquisitors to be like one of the least threatening enemies in the game, usually. Maybe it's just the builds I tend to gravitate towards take care of them easily. Friend does every achievement in Pizza Tower and P rank on every level. I have like a couple of the achievements. I played it on stream once and then never played it again. On a dance pad? I mean, it's pretty difficult on a dance pad. I'm just good at playing games on dance pads. Can't tell you how many times when one of those fuckers was off screen and end you around because you somehow had aggro. Wait, why would it end your run? Wouldn't it just, like, hit you? They don't do that much damage, do they? Oh, curses. Okay, yeah. Can't dance or already 10 out of 10 super or mega impossible difficulty. You don't dance when you play games on a dance pad. You want to see my dance pad Terraria with dance pad video? Have I done it? That video came out like 10 months ago or something. Terraria was the first game I played on a dance pad. Hey, Shark Tales. Yeah, back to the other thing. Generally, the only times I would be annoyed by people talking to me are, one, if they're just being annoying and, like, screaming in all caps or just repeating things that aren't funny or being edgy or stuff like that. Two, if they're constantly trying to, argue with me or correct me or something like that. What's my least favorite game? Noida. I fucking hate Noida. That's a strong word. I play up the resentments I have for Noida a little bit, but I don't like Noida at all. I cannot think of a game I would want to play less than Noida. Of games I've actually played. 11,000? No, 110,000, not 11,000. You're off by a factor of 10. Yeah, it'll happen sometimes where some people are very insistent on trying to correct me or continue to argue. I will not want to do something and then come up with a reason which is not, you know, the entire reason as to why I want to do something, and then they continue to argue that that reason doesn't matter. I find that usually the issue with talking too fast is when you slur your speech and you don't speak clearly. Because that, in combination with talking fast, can make it very difficult to try to understand you. So make sure, if you tend to talk fast, that you try to enunciate your words clearly so that people can understand what you're saying. Because if you just talk fast like this, it can be really hard to hear what's going on. And, like, you want people to really tell what I'm saying very well, especially if you're kind of listening in, like, the proximity of what I'm saying. You're not, like, hanging on to every word very closely. It can get really blurry. Yeah, a good example is, like, me saying, me doing a challenge and someone going like, oh, why don't you do this? And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then that person continuing to argue why I should do that repeatedly for, like, minutes on end, which happens sometimes and gets annoying. Like, if I said I don't want to do it, that means I don't want to do it. I don't need you to try to convince me or argue with the reasons that I gave, regardless of how valid they may be. I mean, it's too loud, like, why the fuck are you shouting? Oh, like, people being loud. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of being around loud people. That's why I don't like children very much. You're playing Toho and a barely on-screen projectile hit you once? Unfortunate. How are you gonna beat Moonlord's heart? It regens. The Moonlord's healing is tied to the Moonbite debuff, which it inflicts with your tongue. You can avoid the Moonbite debuff in many, many ways. In fact, he sends out his tongue and would be healing in his first phase as well. We're going to do the exact same thing we're doing in his first phase to avoid his healing, which is teleport away. The only thing that changes in his second phase is that he sends out his tongue more frequently, and as a result, he can heal more frequently, but it doesn't change the base mechanics of the healing, and we avoid it in the exact same way that we avoid it in the first place. Even if the tongue hits you, if you just teleport away, he doesn't heal. Is the Sepulchre? I haven't been to the Sepulchre in a long time. I don't really go there. I don't like it, though. How do you think the Moonlord cleans his eyes? Like, the hand eyes and the top eye, those ones are capable of blinking, but he has 4 other eyes on his face. They don't blink. They don't seem to have eyelids. Do you think he just, like, licks them like a reptile? You saw a video of a dude beating Moonlord with only Copper Shortsword, and he said he couldn't beat Hope because it regens too fast. I've beaten the Moonlord with a Copper Shortsword. Twice. I can assure you. It's possible. Whoever you were watching do it just seemed to lack an understanding of how the mechanics work and therefore didn't know how to overcome it. Trust me, I've beaten the Moonlord with many a low damage weapon. It is more than possible. He doesn't? He's dirty? Now he's knew the Moonlord was a stinky boy. So he lied? It's not that he lied, because lying implies intentional misdirection. He might have just not known. Like, I don't think the intricacies of the Moonlord's healing mechanics are well known to most people. There's a difference between lying and just being wrong, because lying implies you know what is correct and you intentionally say something else. Whereas some people are just mistaken. People make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. Thank you, Rith. What's my best class in school? I'm not... I don't have an answer to that. I'm 23. First you've gone, your current 1.2 and expert 1.4 playthroughs was Wall of Flesh on Xbox 360 Terraria. And now you're on Plantera. Well, it's a long ways from there. And if you're at Plantera, you're really not too far from beating the whole game. What gear are you using? You might be able to make some improvements here or there. Might be able to help out. I assume you're at 500 HP with Life Fruit. If not, that'll certainly help. And you can also make sure to get potions. Even some basic ones, Iron Skin, Regeneration, and a Well-Fed buff go a long way. If you're playing as Mage, you'd also probably want a Mana Regeneration Potion, which is pretty simple to make. It's, I think just a Daybloom and a Fallen Star. Maybe a Moon Glow? I don't know. What's your weapon? Can't wait till November and go to the hospital for... Oh. You can wait till November and go to the hospital for free. You can go next Monday for the price of €4. Did you see a doctor? You should use Mega Shark. I think they're a mage. I don't know. I mean, €4 is a lot of money. That's like a small meal. You're using the Magical Hope, or are you suggesting the Magical Hope? Rainbow Rod, Golden Shower, and Demon Sight book thing. Okay, Rainbow Rod's great. Golden Shower is a great support weapon. Tag with the Golden Shower, switch to Rainbow Rod. Get the Demon Sight the fuck out of there. That weapon is not good for Plantera. Yeah, Rainbow Rod's great. Demon Scythe is greatly outclassed by that point, though. I would not recommend it. With that fork from Red Devils, Rainbow Rod's fine. Like, Rainbow Rod is good single target damage. I don't think you really need to get an upgrade from there. Unholy Trident's fine. It's pretty mana intensive, though, from what I remember. Chat didn't load for a minute. YouTube does that sometimes. I'd see you, Philip. I assume they're playing Mage. Nimbus Rod? Nimbus Rod's fine, yeah. It certainly wouldn't hurt. But, like, I don't think your weapon setup needs improvement. You know, a Rainbow Rod on Expert Mode should be plenty to take care of Plantera. Lightning Boots, Sorcerer Emblem, Magic Cuffs, Mana Flower, and Pixie Wings. Okay. Couple of suggestions. One, I would suggest that you transition to using mana regeneration potions and stop attacking for a second or two to regenerate your mana instead of drinking mana potions, because mana sickness is a pretty hefty damage nerf, and you really, if possible, want to avoid that. So what I would do is I would ditch the mana flower and stop using mana potions and switch to mana regeneration potions when reasonable. Obviously, you don't have to do that. That is just what I would do. You can upgrade from Pixie Wings. Bat Wings, which you get from Solar Eclipse Vampires. They drop broken Bat Wings. You upgrade those. Butterfly Wings, which you get from Moths in the jungle. Tattered Bee Wings, which you get from Moss Hornets in the jungle. And Flame Wings, which you get from Red Devils in the underworld, are a step above Pixie Wings. Having them will certainly not hurt. I'm also fond of like balloons, but obviously you don't have to use those. I would go for like a blizzard in a balloon. The ascension speed and the double jump's quite nice. Arcane Crystal, if you haven't found the Shimmer, getting the Shimmer upgrades, you can get an Aegis Fruit, an Arcane Crystal, and a Vital Crystal. Hello, Pablo. Hate to break it to you, but my name's not Greg. Did you switch Mana Flower for the Star Veil? Again, I would only switch Mana Flower out if you are going to use Mana Regeneration Potions. But I think that's a fine swap, yeah. Nimbus Rod should be a Summoner Sentry. Yeah, they're more... If they were added now, they probably would be sentries, I feel like. But I think the context of when they were added is why they're not sentries. Because sentries... There was only... Sentries were pretty specific and pretty special. When they were introduced in 1.2, the Frost Hydra and the Queen Spider Staff. The Frost Hydra was, like, a really, like, unique weapon, and I think the Queen Spider Staff came later. The Crimson Rod is the parallel to the Vilethorn in Crimson Hearts, and the Nimbus Rod is essentially the hard mode version of that, which I think plays into why they're both magic weapons. Because if you didn't notice... Shadow Orbs in Crimson Hearts drop one weapon for each class, and then an accessory. And then, well, one weapon for each non-summoner class, one accessory, and one light pet. There's the Rotted Fork and the Ball of Hurt. There's the Undertaker and the Musket. And there's the Vilethorn and the Crimson Rod. Which is why the Crimson Rod is a magic weapon and not a summoner weapon. And then they both drop their light pets, the Crimson Heart and Shadow Orb, and the Band of Star Power and Panic Necklace. And then I imagine the Crimson Rod being designed as a hard mode version of the... Oh, sorry, the Nimbus Rod being designed as a hard mode version of the Crimson Rod is probably why they were both maintained as magic weapons. Along with... it makes them better, because if they were sentries, they would take up a sentry slot. Which would limit your ability to place them, whereas when they're magic weapons, you can just place them wherever, really. They have their own internal count. How many total hours have I been doing this? Probably like 56, 57, something like that. So, well, yes, I do agree that... Is there a hard mode variant to the Vilethorn? Yes, it comes from Crystal Mimics. It's called the Crystal Vial Shard. Oh, sorry, Hollowed Mimics, not Crystal Mimics. It's one of the weapons you get from them. Underground Hollow time. I would not suggest using the Crystal Vial Shard for Plantera. It's an early hard mode mage weapon, and it's also not a particularly good one. I mean, it attacks through walls, and it was buffed in 1.4.4 to have a decent amount of armor penetration, I believe. Or in some recent update. But it's still not, like, particularly good. Have I ever used Flying Knife? I have, yeah. The thing about using an Inferno Potion to block some of the projectiles. So that will only affect the Phase 2 projectiles, specifically the spores that she spawns, which are destructible. That's the only thing it's going to affect. They don't exist in Phase 1, and they're not very common in Phase 2. But it certainly won't hurt. And if you have Inferno Potions lying around, they could do you some good. But I wouldn't set your expectations very high as far as what the Inferno Potion's going to do. It has a very limited usage for Plantera. One thing you could do is if you make a house and move the nurse in nearby and set your spawn point in there, you could potentially recall to the nurse to get a quick heal in the middle of the fight. Obviously, you won't be able to do it too much because, you know, Plantera would kill the nurse. But if you're struggling with a boss, it can be a solid play there. Inferno Potion is better at keeping mobs in fire. Inferno Potion was buffed in 1.4.4, and it's actually decently respectable damage now. I think it hits for like a 10 damage per hit instead of 4. Like the raw damage itself. And then it was changed to Hellfire instead of On Fire, which I think is 15 DPS instead of 4 DPS. It's quite fearsome against worm enemies that can be caught on fire. And it does have usefulness for Duke Fishhorn and Plantera. But it's a rather annoying potion to get materials for. Which is unfortunate. Not gonna get the Rod of Discord. Incredibly based. That seemed good for it as well. The only unfortunate thing about the Inferno Potion is the very low range that it has. And if you're playing Ranger or Mage, you're probably not going to want to get enemies within the range of the Inferno Potion. As melee, it's decent, but as melee, you're also going to have access to, like, the Fire Gauntlet, which inflicts Hellfire, which is what the Inferno Potion inflicts. Why teleport somewhere when you can just go there? True. We are much closer, yeah. It's been a productive couple days. A lot of Discord is supposed to be a transport tool and not a get out of jail card. What's that assessment based on? The Rod of Discord is a kind of shitty transport tool. Like, it used to be a really good transport tool back before it was nerfed and you could use it with no cooldown. You could teleport around the world really quickly. But, like, since they added the cooldown, it's not really that good at moving you around. Quickly. It's kind of is just a get out of jail free code. Thank you, YouTube, for pausing my playlist for no reason. Why use Rod of Discord and you can just use teleporters and not lose 70 HP? The Rod of Discord doesn't damage you unless you use it multiple times in succession. You get a free teleport every, what is it, like 7 seconds? I forget how long the cooldown is. And then if you use it more than that frequently, it'll damage you. But I think if they were post Moonlord, they wouldn't have to worry about very much. It's still very overrated. I think it's just a crutch. As I've said before. I don't think it's overrated. Like, it's good. It is a really good item for erasing your mistakes and bailing you out and getting you away from danger. But people rely on it too much and it becomes a crutch. And it's something that doesn't really allow you to do anything you couldn't otherwise do. All that it really does is nullify mistakes that you make and allow you to potentially do some things easier. But it's not like the Rod of Discord is going to enable you to do strategies you couldn't otherwise do. It mostly just teaches you that you can ignore the mistakes that you make rather than suffering the consequences for them. And yeah, a lot of transport things in the game got kind of obsoleted with the addition of pylons, because pylons are just so much better. Speaking of other items I hate the Hook of Dissonance. I can't stand the Hook of Dissonance. That's the one that Queen Slime drops, the teleporty one. You powder the get ripped in half multiple times till you beat a boss category when it comes to basically all of hard mode so far. I mean, they can be tough to learn. Have you played... so I assume you haven't played through the game on classic mode. You're doing expert as like your first playthrough through the game. Trying to remember this theme. It's familiar, but I don't recognize it. It's, actually, no, I guess I don't recognize it. It's Temple. I don't know what Temple is. I thought it sounded familiar, but I don't recall a region called Temple. Maybe I just recognized it from playing the playlist. You're doing classic multiple times, you like the expert drops more. Oh, okay. Well, the track is called Temple. But I don't know what that is. The hook is weird to use. It's not a hook, is the thing. It's just a short-range teleport. You can't use it for hook things, which is what I really don't like about it. You can't use it to control your momentum and fling you around. I feel like all the Master Mode drops are underwhelming. They're intended to be underwhelming. Master Mode is not meant to be another Expert Mode. It's meant to just be like an extra difficulty for people that want to do it. They're supposed to be underwhelming. They're mostly just pets. People had expectations for Master Mode that were not what the devs intended Master Mode to be. They wanted something that was like another Expert Mode when the devs just wanted to implement another difficulty and just put in some pet drops and relics and things. Yeah, there was only one point in time in which a Master Mode drop was, like, really good. And that got nerfed into Oblivion, and that was the pre-patch Black Spot, which was incredibly overpowered and just made, like, Master Mode easier than Expert Mode. And then got nerfed into Oblivion, and now sucks. Huh. Hey, Pink Mimic. I don't know this. I don't know what Servants is. Is that a DLC boss? Or is that like the Lighthouse guys? Are the Lighthouse guys the Servants? The Lighthouse guys? Okay. Woman? I was using guys as a not gendered term, but... Good to know. Huh. Do you actually know how old the NPCs are besides the Dryad? Most NPCs do not have a, like, specific age attributed to them. We know that the Anglo and the Princess are under the age of 18 because they're children. But besides that, I don't think they have an age. Did I find an excuse for the squash closet? I'm just gonna make it up and hope they don't say anything. I'm good at coming up with lies and excuses. Natural talent. I would something for 500-year pixels. Well, the pixels are only like 12 years old. Phase 2 Plantera. Fun fact about Phase 2 Plantera. You can despawn the tendrils on her hooks independently of the boss. So if you move around a lot, you might notice in Expert Mode that you despawned the tendrils on the hooks. Which can make dodging them considerably easier, because those ones don't respawn. It's only the tendrils in Plantera's main body that respawn. So if you can successfully despawn the ones on the hooks, they'll stay gone forever, and then it's much easier to avoid her. We did that with the Lawnmower. Because it wasn't like we were going to be able to kill them. Oh. Moonlord's almost down to 40,000. I think I could take Moonlord down to 40,000. I think that'll be the goal for this stream. Is getting him down to 40k. I don't know if the hooks are like evolved dragon snatchers. What is a dragon snatcher? Usually face tank planetary with feathered bagnecks. I just think that's a boring strategy. Hardcore Maneater. Those are called Angry Trappers. Or Hard Mode Maneater. Not Dragon Snatchers. Oh! It was an old gen mob. That makes sense. It was something that only existed in console and mobile in 1.2, and was removed by this point. What's my least favorite HUD mode enemy? Rune Wizard. Nothing quite like the primal fear of moving through an area quickly and hardcore, and then seeing on your life form analyzer for a split second that there's a rune wizard detecting nearby, and then you just like freak the fuck out and panic because it might be teleporting right in front of you. Shout out to when I was doing bouncy dynamite only. What about Tortoise in the dark? Tortoises really are not that threatening. One, tortoises don't do nearly as much damage as rune wizards. Two, well, I guess they do nearly as much damage, but they don't do as much damage as rune wizards. Two, tortoises, you just have to hit them and they stop spinning. Three, tortoises don't teleport. Like, you just get hunter potions or light up the area, or... There's plenty of ways to deal with tortoises. I've never really found them very threatening. Like, you say, what about tortoises in the dark? But, like, if I'm playing a hardcore character, there's never going to be a situation where I'm going to allow myself to be in a situation where a tortoise could one-shot me in the dark. I'm going to either have the area lit up or have hunter potions or something to make sure that wouldn't happen. Otherwise, it's just being irresponsible. Yes. Rune Wizards have 600 contact damage on Master. And if you're in For the Worthy, they get up to 800 and then get a 33% multiplier on top of that, and they hit for, like, over 1,000 damage. Yes, Rune Wizards have, I believe, the highest damage of any enemy in the game outside of, like, Daytime Empress of Light, Daytime Skeletron, Empress of Light. Or, sorry, Dungeon Guardian stuff that just one-shots you. They had the same damage as, Clowns before they got nerfed. Clowns used to also deal 600 damage, with their bombs and with the Chattering Teeth bombs. But then those got nerfed and they don't deal as much. Rune Wizards, however, did not get nerfed. And since it's contact damage, it gets that huge damage buff in For the Worthy. Which means that, like, even if you have Beetle Armor, it still might one-shot you. Scarier than Paladins. Paladins are super manipulatable. All you have to do is have a consistent means of hitting them and also not have line of sight. And they're really big, so they're not really able to fit through gaps. Like, we farmed a bunch of Paladins with a Lawnmower. Especially now that they added artificial dungeon biomes. It's really not too bad farming paladins. Throwback to paladin farming spot. I forgot the graveyard existed, I'm not gonna lie. I went through that path, like, twice. I fought the giant. One time that I got to the giant and then died to him because freezing didn't work, and then the next time I got there, I just no-hit him. And I haven't been back there because, like I said, when I was playing Dead Cells, my main intention was to beat Boss Cell 5, and I took what I considered to be the easiest path there, which didn't involve going to fight the giant and graveyard and all that. Like Graveyard over Slumbering Sanctuary? I don't have the DLC. Oh, wait, no. That's right. Fractured Shrines is the DLC one. Slumbering Sanctuary is the one that I had to get the rune for that I didn't have for a while. I didn't go to Slumbering Sanctuary that often either. I went to Stilt Village, I think. And I love going to the bank. I like the bank a lot. Your favorite Terraria biome? I don't know. I'm bad at picking favorites. Message on Discord. Undying Shores. No. This is Keep Off the Flowers, Dead Cells Fatal Falls. Maybe that's the theme that plays in... No, it's not Undying Shores. Undying Shores is a different track. I don't have Fatal Falls, I don't think. It's called Keep Off the Flowers. I don't know what this plays doing because I don't have that DLC. I don't know what Scarecrow is. I don't have that DLC. Stop spamming the word Scarecrow. I don't know what that means. It's a boss? Okay. Welcome back, Glitch. Oh. I was wrong about the top by being faster. Yeah. I don't know why people didn't believe me. It's a lot faster than you thought. It's pretty much exactly what... the hands just have barely any health. There's 6 health on the left hand and 5 health on the right hand. I didn't feel like popping out the True Eyes of Cthulhu quite yet, so I didn't actually finish them off. Have I ever used the Stellar Tune? I don't use magic weapons. Yo, Bank. I love Bank. The weapon in Terraria would understand possibly the whole game with it. I mean, the only reason it would be impossible to beat Terraria with a weapon is if you couldn't kill the Wall of Flesh with it. If you can't kill the Wall of Flesh with a weapon, that is the only reason you wouldn't be able to beat the game. If there's a weapon you can't kill the Wall of Flesh with, that's the weapon you can't beat the game with. Also, the nighttime bosses? No, because the Don't Dig Up seed exists, and on the Don't Dig Up seed, there's no time limits. The only boss that has a mandatory time restriction is the Wall of Flesh. All weapons can kill Wall of Flesh? That's debatable. Hey, I think if you were on, like, Journey mode half difficulty, you could probably kill the Wall of Flesh with anything. But if you're on Classic, I don't know if you could say that you could kill the Wall of Flesh with every weapon on Classic. I don't know. The Lawnmower really struggled to do it. And I think there are conceivably weapons that would perform worse than the Lawnmower against the Wall of Flesh. Could you do it with a wooden hammer? Could you do it with paper airplanes? On Classic, not Journey mode half difficulty. Maybe? But I don't think it's an open and shut case for being possible. Could you do it with the Shield of Cthulhu? You know? Could you do it with Cactus Armor? If you consider Cactus Armor to be a weapon? I mean, I guess any Thorns type effect would be impossible to beat the game with, because the Moonlord does not deal contact damage, and as a result, you could never reflect damage on the Moonlord with Thorns Potion, Cactus Armor, Total Armor, whatever, if you had aspirations of doing that. So I guess by stretching the definition of weapon to include those, it would be impossible with any of those. Slime Mount? Yeah, whether or not it would be possible with mounts to kill the Wall of Flesh. How did he become an Elder God? Oh, he's just very old. Bismarck's like 40. You're an Elder God. That kind of implies being old, no? What if he's who among the group? Bismarck has been told to go on Discord. Is that a threat? What are you going to do if he doesn't? Bismarck only being 2 hours old? That would explain a lot. Is this the final boss music? I don't think this is Hand of the King, or... I don't think this is one of the final bosses. This sounds like an area. Is this the, Oh yeah, this is Bank. Yeah, yeah. Yo, Bank Elevator. I love Bank Elevator. I usually need the voice that goes like, Sneep Snop, whenever you, like, change floor. Whoa, what makes you think the bank tellers are animals? Maybe they're just like a different type of people, you know? Maybe there's some kind of sentient fungus, you don't know. You know, my ex in high school was like a blue rat that could stand on 2 legs and talk. I said what I said, Recoin. This is, I think, a continuation of the bank elevator theme, but I don't know where this shows up. It's possible to break one of the eyes this stream. I mean, I could break one of the eyes whenever I want. I have 2 eyes that are basically near dead, but I'm not going to. That would just be reckless. It might interfere with my ability to damage the top eye. By having a True Eye of Cthulhu released, so I'm not going to do that until the top eye is ready to pop. Well, obviously, Recoin, you didn't go to high school with me. Damn Sonic-looking motherfucker. Yeah, these are all the bank elevator themes. But I don't know where they show up in-game. I've never heard these in-game. If it goes on for long enough? Oh, so like, if you stay on the elevator for a while, it changes to these? So an hour and a half, we've dealt 5,000 damage. Which means we deal a little over 3,000 damage an hour, it looks like. How long has this been going on already? A little bit shy of 60 hours, I think. Today, only an hour and a half. I've been breaking it up into different pieces. You know, manageable bite sizes. Get hit by the death ray? Yeah, it happens sometimes. Getting hit by the death ray once isn't a problem. Getting hit by the death ray twice would be inconvenient. Getting hit by the death ray 3 times would kill me. But it would be nigh impossible to get hit by the same death ray 3 times. I would have to, like, actively try to get hit by the same death ray 3 times. And if I don't get hit by the same death ray 3 times, I could just regen health by the time the next one came around. And getting hit by 2 death rays in a row would also be very unlikely. It was me just, it's just you to Reapers take increased knockback. I don't think Reapers, I think the only enemies with negative knockback modifiers are Pinky and Golden Slimes. And Flinxes. Actually, I'm not even sure if Golden Slimes do. It might just be Pinkies and Flinxes. Now, every enemy has different levels of knockback resistance. Reapers might have less knockback resistance than other enemies, especially in the solar eclipse. a lot of those enemies are very knockback resistant. So relative to them, the Reapers might take more knockback, but the only two enemies in the game that I can think of that take increased knockback are Pinky and Flinxes. It took me so long to figure out how to get into the dilapidated arboretum. Because when I saw the petals, it took me so long to realize I could bounce on them. I thought I had to, like, get a particular rune. Golden Slime does take extra knockback? Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought they did, but I wasn't positive. But I probably passed by it, like, 10 or 11 times before I finally realized, like, oh, I can bounce on that. I don't need another rune to try to get up there. This is Dead Cell's soundtrack glitched. And yeah. Oh, you're gonna change your name. Okay. Do I ever make Dead Cells content? I played Dead Cells a couple times on stream, but that's about it. I have a couple Dead Cell streams. I think I streamed the first 2 times that I beat the game. Like my first day of playing it, I did 2 Dead Cell streams, and at the end of the second stream, I had beaten the Queen and the Hand of the King. And then I had also streamed when I did Boss Cell 5. I forget which stream that was in. It was, I had finished something else. I think it was maybe after Ori and the Blind Forest. When I finished Ori and the Blind Forest, I think I did a Dead Cells playthrough after that, and I think that was where I beat Boss Cell 5. But that's about all I've streamed of Dead Cells. I didn't find Dead Cells to be a super, like, a game that I really wanted to stream a bunch of, because it was very repetitive, and I just didn't feel like it was a great stream game. Yes, it did. So how do you pronounce that? Was it Eucalyx? Eucoilix? Something like that? Yeah, to which one? The first one? Eucalyx? Eucalyx, okay. Is that like a reference to something? Or is that just like a word that you made up, or what? Yes, I have Phoenix. I'm aware of the transmutation glitch. Thought of it one day? Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's the main thing that makes the pronunciation of it feel weird is the Y after the U. Because the Y is silent. Which is weird, because you really don't get silent Ys very often. Yeah, it does look cool. Oh, hold on. I have another message on Discord. Damn it. Okay, 1,500 to go, which should be about half an hour. Persimmons or Vile? I don't think I've ever had a persimmon. It's a persimmon? It's a fruit, I believe. It's kind of like peach colored, I think. I'm going off of memory here. Persimmons aren't something that come up too often. I have a mental image of a persimmon that I think is accurate. Like something in like the pink, peach, orange spectrum. Alright. Oops. They always smell and look rotten? That might be like the place you buy the persimmon from, but I'm also not like familiar with persimmons. I don't know if they're just like that. They spoil really easily or something. Okay, so it would be Yuko. Fair warning. You will probably get a lot of people mispronouncing or asking you how to pronounce your name. Just be ready for that. I think a lot of people are going to try to pronounce the Y. So you put it as the second line in your channel description. Makes sense. Abraham the Traveling Merchant has arrived. Yo! That's the dude, the graham cracker guy. Abraham, the guy that graham crackers are named after? Abraham Lincoln? What do you think of Undertale? I don't have thoughts on Undertale. I haven't played Undertale. I heard of Flaming Cheetos mac and cheese. Yes, actually, I saw that in the grocery store. It did not look good. I've heard of cheese-only cheeseburger. That's just cheese. Your furry at school who was obsessed with Undertale, he also like to call you annoying for sitting across from him. They probably were just neurodivergent or had autism or something. I mean, just put that out there. I feel like for some reason they have some weird obsession on something. I mean, usually, from what I remember of people in high school, especially people who gravitated to being furries, they usually tended to be neurodivergent and had weird fixations and obsessions with certain things. With buns, that's a grilled cheese with extra work. Undertale is your favorite game and you're making me sound bad? How? What? How is that making it sound bad? How is saying that... I think you're reading what I said with the implication that being autistic or being a furry is a bad thing. When I was saying it in a way as to say that that would be why he had a weird obsession and fixation on the game. Is because that's just something that's really common in neurodivergent people. Like that guy who was in the stream when I was playing Risk of Rain too, that just really liked flashlights. It's not a bad thing, then why is it making you sound bad? I'm struggling to see the connection there. Unless you're operating on the assumption that the things I said are inherently have some negative connotation. Should the furries tend to get a lot of hate? But you're reading into things that I didn't say. In a way that I didn't say them. Just because you have the same interest as some guy who was kind of seemed weird in your class that was a furry, like, that doesn't make those like, guess what? Furries also like Pokemon. I've played Pokemon before. That doesn't, like, just because some furry draws porn of, like, Lucario getting dicked down, it doesn't mean that I can't like Pokemon. Right? Especially with Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. I haven't really played any Crash Bandicoot games, I'll be honest. I'm not very familiar with them. Favorite Pokemon is either Buddy or Torterra. I barely know what those two Pokemon are, I'm not gonna lie. I think Torterra is the final evolution of Turtwig. Not positive. Budew, I'll be honest, I don't know what Budew is. I don't remember Budew. Hey, Amethyst. Both from Gen 4. I played Gen 4, but I don't remember Budew. And I never picked Turtwig. I think I always usually picked, like, Piplup. Favorite Pokemon is... Wait. Mimikyu? Is that like a Mimikyu, or is that just Mimikyu? I like Mimikyu. Mimikyu's cute. Budew is the baby form of the flower Pokemon. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I have a shiny Mimikyu, I think, on my, Pokemon Sun, save file. I played a game with my sister the other day where I just went through every Pokemon ever made by picture and showed them to my sister and saw how many she could identify and also how many I could identify with their names. And looking through, like, the recent Pokemon, like, holy shit, what the fuck are some of these things? Like, Flamigo? Flamigo's just a fucking flamingo! And its name is Flamigo! Like, it's not even like a Pokemon, it's just a flamingo. With one letter changed. And, like, yes, it's a clever pun. But it's just a flamingo. Lampent is just a fucking lamp. Yeah, and then there's, like, Trubbish and Garbodor, which are just literal piles of trash. With a move called Gunk Shot, which is just... There's the fucking ice cream cone Pokemon. I don't remember a lot of them, but I remember laughing my ass off at some of the designs. What are thoughts on the Darumaka line? I don't know what that is. I don't know what Darumaka is. What is that? I haven't played a Pokemon. I played Pokemon Sun. I've played Pokemon... I've played Leaf Green, Heart Gold. I forget whether I played Ruby or Emerald or Sapphire, but I played one of those. Diamond, Platinum, and Sun. I haven't played the other ones, and I'm not familiar with those other generations. So if there are things from there, I probably am not going to remember them very well. And even if they are the ones from the generations that I do remember, that I did play, I still might not remember them very well. Alcremie is a cake Pokemon. Latest Pokemon game you played is Shining Pearl. I didn't get those remakes. Darumaka is the Pokemon based on a Daruma doll. I don't know what I don't know what that doll is. I'm not familiar with that. Vespiquen is a bee Pokemon. Okay, don't shit talk Vespiquen though, because isn't Vespiquen the one that evolves from Vibombi? Vibombi is cute as fuck, and if you shit talk Vibombi, you're banned. Okay? It evolves from Combi? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different Pokemon then. To be fair, there were like... There's Beedrill, there's Vespiquen, there's Ribombi. Ribombi is the peak bee Pokemon. I thought Vespiquen... Too many bee Pokemon. Okay, but Vibombi has like a scout. Okay? Eevee Supremacy? Eevee's fine. Eevees are cute. The real question is, what's your preferred evolution? The official Sylveon simp? My favorite evolution? You say Vaporeon. Okay, you see, I would love to say Vaporeon, because honestly, I like Vaporeon. Design-wise, I don't want to fuck the Vaporeon, okay? But if you tell anyone that you like Vaporeon as an evolution, they immediately think you want to have sex with that Vaporeon. I do not want to have sex with the Vaporeon, okay? I just, like, Vaporeon's a cool Pokemon. Of, like, Flareon and Jolteon, I like Vaporeon. Like, it's nice. It's water-based. It looks cool, okay? But I don't want to have sex with the Vaporeon. But I do like Umbreon a lot. Shiny Umbreon looks dope as fuck. With the blue rings. You want to fuck Lopunny? No, no, no. There's nobody in existence who says their favorite Pokemon is Lopunny that does not want to have sex with that Lopunny. I'm sorry. If you like Lopunny as your favorite Pokemon, you want to have sex with Lopunny. It's not your favorite? Okay. Sylveon, yeah, Sylveon's the trans, Eevee. There's no, I just like Lopunny. Lopunny is furry bait, yeah. Like, oh, you like Lucario? Lucario is your favorite Pokemon? Huh? That's... Did you know male Gardevoirs exist? You mean Gallade? Actual male Gardevoirs. No, I was not aware of this. I thought Gardevoir only evolved from female Curlias and Ralts. Gallade has to be male. Gardevoir can be male and female. I see. Okay. No, Pokemon are sapient beings that are intelligent. They're not like trained animals. At least some Pokemon are. Just because you're attracted to both genders doesn't mean you're attracted to every instance of both genders. Like, just because I might say I'm attracted to both males and females doesn't mean I'm attracted to every male or female, right? I mean, like, that doesn't... In according to one of the books in one of the Pokemon games, Pokemon and people used to get married. Do I think Ludicolo is sentient? I think Ludicolo looks dumb. He's got a stupid face. I don't like him. Can't speak English, but usually only like part of their names. Just because you don't speak the same language doesn't mean that the other being is not intelligent. I'm pretty sure there was like that one Lucario in one of the movies that could communicate telepathically. Mewtwo's like Giga Brain. A lot of the Pokemon have been demonstrated to be quite intelligent in the decisions they make. Dunsparce is the best Pokemon. I like Shedinja. Shedinja's pretty cool. Well, it raises an interesting question of whether or not the Pokemon are speaking their names, or whether or not the Pokemon are named based on what they speak. Butterfree is cool. Bye-bye, Butterfree. I like anytime somebody has like a Butterfree plushie or something, you just say bye-bye Butterfree, and then you just chuck the Butterfree like off a cliff. Or like on the other side of the room or something if you're not outside. I genuinely did that last week. Like, my half-sister came over, and she really likes coming over to my sister's house and playing with her Pokemon plushies. And my sister has a Butterfree plushie. And then, I went over to them, and they were playing on the ground, and I picked up the Butterfree, and I said, bye-bye Butterfree, and I just chucked it across the room. And then left without saying anything else. I think Eternal Floette? I'm not even entirely sure what that is. There should be a Japanese tradition that one day every year a bunch of people gather up on a cliff to yell bye-bye Butterfree and then chuck hundreds into the ocean. You know, that sounds like it would be a good Japanese tradition if Japan wasn't suffering with severe population loss issues. Bit of a tough sell with that one. My favorite starter across all gens? I don't know, but that reminds me how much I hate the fact that Litten, who is really cute, evolves into a fucking, like, huge, burra, furry, like, cat man. Like, why can't it just be, like, a panther, or, like, a lion, or something like, you know, just a big cat? Why's it gotta be a furry? Why can't you just have the cute cat turn into an actual cat? Because Pokemon hate starters, they don't stand up. Litten was cool, but then it evolved, and you stuck it in a box never to be seen again. This is why we have the B button in Everstones. I have no idea what that sentence means. Is Kautana a Pokemon? And Cinnamorough has a Z-move? I don't give a fuck. He can take his ass back to E621. Kautana is Gen 7. Okay. Okay, well, we passed 40k, and I gotta eat food soon, so I think it's gonna be the end of the stream here. We are at 39, 9, 84, 5, and 6. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the tongue there. 114,995 as our total HP. We're getting near the half HP mark. I'll probably stream again tomorrow morning. Bye, everyone.